Hello, my fellow comic book collectors. It's Alan, the Comic Collector Geek, and this is the Wednesday video where I answer your questions. Each week, people ask me questions, and the next week, I answer them. If you have a question you'd like answered, put it in the comments below, and I'll answer it next week. And I'll try to do my best to give you a pretty elaborate answer. So the first question comes from MJ Chick, who wrote, "How about doing a Forgotten Heroes of the Super Age, the Golden Age video?" Well, that's a great idea, and I might do it as an ongoing series, like maybe on Fridays or Saturdays or some kind of series, if people really show interest in it. So if you show interest in it, I will do it. But for this video, I'm going to keep it simple. We'll just do one forgotten superhero from the Golden Age, and the one I chose was Bulletman. And Bulletman made his first appearance in Nickel Comics #1, and this is his first appearance. You can see I'm going right through the ship, and it says, "Here comes Bulletman." This is from 1940. It is the origin and the first appearance of Bulletman, and it's a Jack Binder cover. Great first appearance. And Bulletman, I'm going to read his little origin story. Young Jim Barr became an orphan when his father, Sergeant Pat Barr, was murdered by gangsters. Jim vows to devote his life to eliminating crime from that moment on. Unable to pass the police physical because of his inadequate physique, Jim stays true to his vow by becoming a police forensic scientist and ballistic expert, later earning him the nickname Bullet. And that's Bulletman. Jim tried to develop a serum to eradicate criminal intentions within a person, a crime cure, as he explains it. He tried this serum on himself first and discovers his muscle mass and brain power have both increased. Jim next invented a gravity regulator helmet, which was shaped like a bullet, that enabled him to fly and deflect bullets. He took his discoveries and fashioned a costume and became the crime-fighting Bulletman. Jim's lab assistant, Susan Kent, was the daughter of a police officer, and he often worked with, and the two became involved. As his girlfriend, Susan discovered Jim's alter ego as Bulletman and wanted to share in his cause. He makes another gravity regulator helmet for her, which enables her to become his partner, Bullet Girl. And she made her first appearance as Bullet Girl in Master Comics #13. And it's a really cool one. You got to see her on the cover, and you got it's a punching Hitler cover as well. So it's just a great first appearance for Bullet Girl. And as Bulletman and Bullet Girl, the two made a formidable fighting team and were often known as the Flying Detectives. The two would go on to fight villains such as the Black Rodent, the Black Spider, Dr. Riddle, and the common gang of Nazi saboteurs. The duo would eventually add Bullet Boy and Bullet Dog, their pet, to the Bullet family. So we got, here's the first appearance of Bullet Dog. So Bulletman #10. Okay, and as Bulletman, Jim was a founding member of the Crime Crusader Club, along with Bullet Girl, Minuteman, and Captain Marvel Jr. So all these were Fawcett characters, so it makes sense that they all teamed up. So that is Bulletman, very cool character. I'm going to show you one more book from Bulletman, and it's this one. This is Bulletman #5, I believe, yeah, 5. And it's just a great Bulletman cover. You get to see him in his full bullet helmet action thing going on here. And just a really cool cover and a really cool character. So yeah, so that's Bulletman. One of these characters that was kind of lost to the Golden Age, but really fun character. If you get my Kickstarter, so if you pick up my Kickstarter, Actually, I did a section on Bullet Girl because I really liked it to be about the vixens of the Golden Age. So if you click in the link in the description, you can see my Kickstarter, and you can see some other forgotten characters from the Golden Age on the female side. And I picked all the vixens that I really like Bullet Girl and not Phantom Lady, Senorita Rito, and who else? So we got Miss Mask. So here's some new artwork I'm going to show. Miss Mask. We got some Patrick Finch on Miss Fury. We got Bill Moss on Judy of the Jungle. And we have some artwork by Yonami. These are all by Yonami, actually. Oh, most of them. And he did Senorita Rio. So these are some of the artwork that you can get in the in the comic. Check it out, Kickstarter, if you're really interested in forgotten superheroes of the Golden Age. Well, my book, my comic on it is a pretty good resource. Okay, so that's enough pitching. Let's get back into the video. Kay Munin wrote, on your June 8th live stream and interview on Matt's channel, the topic of going down rabbit holes came up. What would be your advice on how to avoid going down the wrong rabbit hole when collecting comics? As always, thanks for your insight and congrats on your Kickstarter launching. Okay, so it's really easy to go down rabbit holes. So ultimately, you got to sort of keep yourself grounded. I'm not very good at that, personally. I just go down rabbit holes and buy random books. But you got to think, at the end of the day, if you like going down rabbit holes and finding interesting books and you enjoy the characters, go down those rabbit holes. But often what will happen is I can think of two instances where rabbit holes can lead to the wrong direction. And I'll give you one example of that, which is my Popeye experience, where I was trying to find that first Popeye appearance. And I was picking up the wrong books. I was just like, I was led astray by certain things. Sometimes when you're going down these rabbit holes, wait till you get to the bottom of the rabbit hole, because often what I was doing was I was picking up, I thought this was the first appearance. No, there's another earlier appearance. Well, then I'd try to find another earlier appearance. And that lack of patience that I had when going down that rabbit hole was an issue, where I was picking up all those books rather than just waiting until I was definitively certain about what was the first appearance. So don't make my mistake. Don't go down the rabbit hole and pick up all the comics along the way. The other thing is, when you're going down a rabbit hole, think, are you doing this for fun? Or are you doing this as an investment? Are you doing this for speculation? What's your goal in that rabbit hole search? If you're doing it for investment, that's generally something that even can kind of tone down your collecting thing, where you kind of think of, okay, is this actually really a good investment? Because sometimes we go down rabbit holes and ultimately we buy things that will never become valuable. But if we go down rabbit holes where we're very aware that these characters will either become important later on or are important now, and just people didn't realize that this is a key book. So for example, when I went down the rabbit hole of Betty Boop, I found out that her first comic book appearance is Betty Boop 3D. And her first book appearance was something earlier than that, which was the Betty Boop and Snow White, as Snow White. So that was her actual first comic book appearance. So I picked up both of those books because of that rabbit hole. But Betty Boop is a character that's well known, and if people, if CGC ever denotes, hey, this is actually the first comic book appearance, then all of a sudden those books that were like dollar bin books, because she is a recognized character, will become more valuable. So that's when you can make a cool decision going down a rabbit hole that actually works out financially as well. So that's kind of the method I think of, and I try to, restrain myself from buying too many books. I'm not very good at that, but I do try. But that's one of the things that I can use as a rationale to kind of tone myself down. Oh, think of it as an investment, Alan. Think of it, and then I try to tone myself down. But yeah, it is what it is. Next question comes from Russell Smith. I do have a question for your next Q&A session. What is the reason for the high desirability and collectability for comic books where there is a red dress feature on the cover? What's the deal with the red dress being a big deal? And does that carry the same weight with a red skirt or red sweater? Thanks. Really, it is a red dress. The red skirt, the red, whatever, isn't really as key. People like the red dress, and there's actually a psychological thing behind it. The color red is linked strongly to desire and attraction. You can think of it this way: when people's lips turn red, actually that's usually a sign of desire. Usually women will actually put lipstick on to make their lips red, and that's a way of attracting men. Well, the red dress acts the same way. And there's a little bit more to the psychology of it. Men are more attracted to women who wear red. And it seems that women who want to attract men, will more often wear red. So that's a bit of the psychology. And there is actually evidence, this is the science part, that women who report wearing red clothes, that there is evidence that women will wear red clothes more often when they are more fertile. So if they're more fertile, they'll wear red more often. Not sure why, but all of these things are the psychological reasons for why we like red. I always think of the Matrix movie where you see all the people in the gray, and then all of a sudden you see the woman in the red dress. And Neo looks at the girl in the red dress. It's like that natural instinct that red sort of catches our eye, and it does show that sexiness and desire of the woman. And that is part of the reason why red dresses are used in comics. So we're desiring this woman, but also there's an interesting psychological thing about men that we want to protect women. We love to protect our women. So if we desire the woman, we're more likely to want to protect her. So if you see a woman in a red dress and she's in peril, well, that adds to the excitement of that comic and more desire for us to see, oh, that woman get rescued. So these are the psychological things. I'm actually going to show you guys, though, as a treat, some of the red dress books in my collection. So we're going to start with a bit of a girl in red, but this is just a fun one. It's Miss America, #1, and she's wearing all red. I just thought it was a good red one. Not necessarily she's in peril. She's like standing up and fighting against all the little guys below. You can see that. And, the red, we got her wearing a red jacket dress kind of thing. Okay. Some of these are better than others. Yeah. But I had a whole bunch. One sec here. I'm going to grab some more. And you got the woman in the red dress. This is another classic cover. I do have some where they're in peril, so just bear with me. We got Matt Baker, girl in the red dress. This one is a bit faded, so you can't really see the red as well as it should be, but it's still a nice cover. And you can see this is kind of like that romance part of the red dress. And this is kind of a humor, but a bit of peril. Is Junior, the girl in the red dress. You can see the bit of sexiness element to it. Very suggestive. This is Al Felstein, and Junior was one of those ones where they thought there was a lot of innuendo inside. She would have to be in her lingerie or taking a bath or something or other. So just a really cool comic, Junior. And let me see, we got some more here. Grab a couple more. Okay, then we got one more. One with the red dress, but this is sort of the Hollywood starlet kind of idea with the red dress. And one parallel one that's a classic red dress one is Startling 49. This is probably one of the most famous red dress covers. And it's an Alex Schomburg cover. And you just want to rescue her because, you know, she's in bondage and she's wearing red. And it really stands out. Like, you can see how the red really focuses your eye on the dress. And they would do things like use these other colors that are more subtle, that makes the red more subtle. So against the blue, the red really pops. Against the green, the red really pops. So, a good example of how to use the red. Okay, next question. So Quasi Terrible wrote, what are some of the busiest covers in your collection? Books that could look like Where's Waldo books. Schomburg covers come to mind. I look forward to your take on the question. Okay, so I'm going to show you a whole bunch of really busy covers. I grabbed a ton. I'm going to show a bunch. Let me just... So I always think of Alex Schomburg too as being kind of the premier busy cover guy. But another really great artist that has really busy covers is L.B. Cole. And there's just so much going on some of his covers. Like this one, you got the Indians fighting, you got the wagons, you got the dead horse, just they got the fire, and you got just so much going on. Like so much detail. Okay, I'll show you some more. But here's a great Alex Schomburg one with a lot of details and a lot of stuff going on. So you got the Hitler in the bed, all tied up, and you got the Nazi quilt. You got the top secret documents. That was another thing that Alex Schomburg would do. He would label everything. It even says, look, to the air raid shelter. And you got like the guys getting blown up in the back. I'm throwing a grenade. Got him shooting up around Hitler. You got Mussolini under the bed. And just so much action, so much stuff going on. So just, it's one of those ones you have to look at for a while to get all the details. And here's another Alex Schomburg cover. We got Speed Comics. And actually, I'm going to take this one out of the plastic. I think it's a little hard to see. Because it's got so much stuff going on. You got the girl, that's the black cat. She's being put into acid. You got to label it. If you're going to have a bucket full of acid, you got to label it. So he's always into his labels. You got the German, not German, the Japanese soldiers getting attacked. You got, the little girl with the gun. So much stuff going on this one. Lots of details. So that's Speed Comics. And another artist that had a lot of stuff going on in his covers was Matt Baker. You can see like this one, it's one where it's very busy in terms of just so many things that you have to notice. So you see the superficial conversation just between the main girl and the guy, but there's, look at the couple in the background. The woman's bored or worried or something. This guy's just looking at he's looking away from her. This guy's like totally into the baseball game or whatever they're at. You got this guy. I don't know what he's doing. I don't know, but they're all doing something a little different. So it's a very busy cover in terms of all the different activities that are happening. It's just a really cool one. This is Diary Secrets by Matt Baker. And just a really cool cover for all the details. Another artist that I think of as having like a lot of stuff happening is Charles Biro. Just a lot of stuff happening. So we got this one. This one's actually one of his more simple covers, but a lot of stuff still happening. You got the girl running away, shooting at the cops as she runs. This guy's been shot in the eye. You got the cops shooting at the girl. You see some dead people that have already been shot in the diner. Lots of dead bodies. It's almost like the diner's so full of dead bodies that they're spilling out of the diner. And then you got this sort of cityscape as well. Just a lot of stuff happening. This is a really great example of Charles Biro's artwork. I mentioned L.B. Cole before, but some of his covers, like that Indian Warriors, had some pretty good details, but some of his best were in Terrifying Tales. Just so many details. This one you have to look at it for a while. You got the girl in bondage. You got this voodoo guy. You got the guy fighting the leopard. You got some other stuff going on, like lava or something going on here. You got, even in the background, you can't necessarily see them, but there's like a whole bunch of tribal people in the background. You can see them all. Just so many little details. It's one that when you first look at it, you might not get all those details, but if you sort of stare at it for a while, all of a sudden, a whole bunch of details will start appearing, and you realize, oh my goodness, there's a lot going on that cover. So that's an example of L.B. Cole. I'll give you one more example of L.B. Cole because his stuff is really great for just so much happening on it. Here's another one. This is Terrors of the Jungle. And again, when you first look at it, you just see the giant lizard dude and the girl. But there's actually much more happening. So there's a guy in the background here. Looks like he's coming to rescue her. And, there's just all this jungly stuff going on here. Then you even have like a pterodactyl over here and down here. There's like all these little details. And as I said, you don't really notice it. The first thing you notice is the striking the big lizard, right? But there's all these details. And that's what makes L.B. Cole such a great artist. Just a really cool book. Okay. And then there's other artists that I think of as having really great, or actually I think of it as more of a title that has really great busy covers. And I think of Rangers and Fight. So Rangers has like some really cool stuff going on with it. This is Al Sharif cover. Safe. I don't know. I'm probably messing up his name totally. But lots of stuff going on. So you got the main images of the girl and the guy, and the guy that's the executioner. But then you got this weird idol guy in the background. If you look down here, you got some soldiers coming up to fight. Got some other soldiers on this side, maybe ready to attack them. Lots of little details. And it just sort of, after a while, you realize, oh my goodness, there's a lot going on that cover. So this is a pretty busy cover. I mentioned Fight, but I'll show you a Joe Doolin Fight cover. This is a classic cover. This is Fight Comics. And this one, you can see, it's like very much like the jungle and jungle warfare. And this guy gets decapitated. I mean, it's just such a horrendous cover. And you got I think these are like the Japanese soldiers over here. And just a crazy cover with lots of intricate details. So just a interesting one where you have to look at it for a little while to get all the details out of it. But just a really cool one. So that's, and I picked a bunch because there's so many great ones. Okay. I think the next four are all Alex Schomburg, because I think of Alex Schomburg as the master of detail and putting in lots of cool things. And I'm going to show you a few that I really like. So we got Fighting Yank. There's just so much going on. You got the Nazi over here. You got the psychotic doctor, and he's like, what is he injecting her with? They always label it poison. And you got all the little instruments on the desk that he's gonna torture this poor person with. And the person in the chair, you can see all, like, he's gonna get a hypodermic needle. You got the blazer over here with some other torture items. You got over here, it says like, what does it say? Gestapo something, headquarters. And you got the Nazi flag, and you can see that Fighting Yank has just jumped through the window. You got the guy in the background with the machine gun. So many details, so many cool things going on this cover. Okay. And this one, I really like kind of these busy covers that Alex Schomburg did, because they tell a story. And this one really does that. It's a bit of a low grade, but it's still a great one. So this is Exciting Comics number 39. And this one, you got the Black Terror, and he's fighting all the Nazis. But if you look at what the Nazis were doing, they're putting poison inside chocolate bars, okay? And that's why the Black Terror is there, trying to save the day, stop these evil Nazis from putting poison into the chocolate bars. Now, what happens if you look through the window, you can see the Nazi smiling and giving the poor little children the chocolate. Just so much going on this cover, and it tells a story of some of the crazy stuff that happened during the Second World War. Great propaganda cover. So this is Exciting Comics number 39. Okay, and we got one more. One of my favorite covers of Alex Schomburg's. Like, I just love this one. I think it's really great. This is a Young Allies, number 8. And this one has like a lot of stuff going on. You got the Young Allies, they're all in bondage, being lowered into, with weights on their feet, into a pool of sharks. And these are Alex Schomburg sharks, which are always not the way sharks really look like, but they look really cute. So yes, you got the Young Allies, and you got Toro kind of swooping in. He melted through the wall. You can see the wall has been melted where Toro has come through. And then you got looks like Bucky or somebody like that coming over here, and they're on a tank. You got the Japanese soldier with the crazy glasses and buck teeth. Just so much stuff going on the cover. And then you got the other like Japanese soldier up there lowering them in, and just so much stuff going on. Again, this is one of those ones where you'd have to look at it for a while to get all those details, but a really fun cover. Okay, so those are my busiest covers in my collection. I have more, but I think this is a pretty good representation of some of the busiest covers from the Golden Age. Next question comes from Red Rock Shane. Have you ever gone through CGC restoration removal? And if so, what was your experience? No, I haven't. I haven't really done that much in terms of CGC submissions, or even grading submissions. I've probably graded less than 50 books. I would say, well, maybe more than that, but 50 books. It was like 2 big submissions to PGX and CGC. And I never did restoration removal because none of the books I dealt with had restoration. So yeah, that was why I didn't really do that. But I have heard stories of other people doing restoration removal, and one was my friend Stephen Gentner. And often what will happen is they'll actually ask, or they'll say that sometimes the restoration can't be removed. And so my experience of restoration is through anecdotes from other people. So as I was saying, Stephen Gentner, he basically sent off books, and CGC said, sorry, we can't actually remove the restoration. That can happen when there's trimming. So often, like, CGC will tell you, sorry, there's trimming. Even if we remove color touch or whatever, they can't necessarily remove, they can't undo trimming. Trimming is a one-way thing. So they just said, sorry, we can't do it. The other story that I heard, I forgot who was it. I'm not sure who it was. They had sent in some books, and there was color touch. And when they got the color touch removed, there was like huge pieces removed from the cover, and it didn't look as nice. So I generally don't like, I don't really care about restoration personally. So I think if the cover looks good, if the book presents well, you know it's restored, you're buying it based on the already reduced value of the restoration. Stick with it. Don't try to mess with it and try to remove it. Now there are some times where it does make sense. I've seen where there's glue on the spine, and sometimes you can remove that glue without even affecting the grade. So sometimes it makes sense if you really like that blue label. But for the most part, I think it's just, I'm too lazy to even resubmit a book, even though I can get a grade boost or whatever. So often I just think, hey, just leave it as is. So that's my anecdote. There are better people to ask that question to. I could think of Jerry the Jitterbug, who actually does restoration removal, and he does things to make the book conserved. Okay, so hope that helps. CJ's Comics and Games wrote, I just recently bought a comic with a double cover. I've seen a few silver and bronze comics with them, but how rare are they from the Golden Age? What comics do you have with double covers? Well, I only have one comic with a double cover, and it is a Golden Age book, believe it or not, and I just recently bought it. It's actually kind of a major book. It's the second ever romance book, and it's Young Romance number 2. Number 1 is the first romance book. I wasn't necessarily interested in this book, but the vendor, the person that had it, said, hey, it's a double cover. And that's really why I bought it. I thought, oh, it'd be cool to have a double cover in my collection. So generally, what I've noticed is double covers generally sell for about 5 to 10 times more than the single covers. In the Golden Age, it's not quite as much because a lot of these books are rare anyways. So maybe they sell 2 to 3 times more. But just to, this is my double cover. It's the double cover is, the first cover is a 3.5, and the interior cover is a 6.0, which is very common. That you get the interior cover being slightly better because the exterior cover protects it. Now, with double covers, I'm basing how rare they are by how rare the comic is. So some of these comics might only have like 10 on the census. So this would be 1 of 10. It's that because it's probably the only double cover on the census. It's one of those weird things. It might actually be the case that double covers would have survived better in the Golden Age, only because the double cover actually protects the book. A lot of these books, from the Golden Age were mangled, and the double cover could actually offer an extra layer of protection, which would mean that more would have survived, which sounds weird, but it could be a case. I could only go based on what I saw on eBay. And I was seeing values based on the more modern stuff being about 10 times more expensive as a double cover, and silver being about 5 times, and golden about 2 to 3 times. So what I would say is that if you kind of do the math, like say, hey, like because it's 2 to 3 times more valuable, or 5 times more valuable, or 10 times more valuable, that would be the percentage of books that are actually double covers. So you could say if it's 10 times more valuable, well, 1 in 10 are double covers. I don't think it works that way, but that's, I would say maybe it's 1 in 100 would be double covers, maybe a 1 in a couple hundred. So yeah, it's a hard thing to really determine. There's no, you'd have to go through all the censuses and look at how many double covers are there. Probably not many, but it's really hard to say. But generally, that's what I've noticed in terms of the values. Those are the ranges. But I imagine, from what I saw, they said if a book is what's considered scarce, which means that there's like 20 to 30 copies of it, it's more likely to be rare or scarce. Not scarce, but rare or the next level, whatever the next level is. So double covers are really hard to find generally. I hope this helps. I'm sorry, I'm not a super expert on double covers. I did do some research in terms of what I saw on eBay and on the CGC forums, but there's really not that much information. I mean, there are people that collect these things, but from what I can tell, there's not many of them to collect. But generally, it's based on value. Then at the end of the day, there's no real way of finding out except for looking at the census for that particular book and seeing how many of them are double covers. So I hope that helps. Thanks for asking the question, and thanks for all the questions this week. If you have a question you would like to ask, put it in the comments below, and I will do my best to answer it. Bye for now.